shocking family crimes, Chris Watts, the Menendez brothers, and more. 01 Chris Watts. After his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters disappeared in August 2018, Chris Watts gave television interviews pleading for their safe return. Many people felt something was amiss with his demeanor, and they were right. Authorities soon discovered that Watts choked wife Shanann and smothered daughters Celeste, 3, and Bella, 4, before burying their bodies in an oil field. His motive: prosecutors believe he wanted to be free to pursue the affair he was having with his co-worker, Nicole Kessinger. 9 days before Watts killed his family, Kessinger spent more than 2 hours on Google searching for wedding dresses. Watts pleaded guilty to the murders to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. To Ashton Sachs. At the February 2014 funeral for Brad and Andra Sachs, no one appeared more distraught than their 19-year-old son, Ashton. He collapsed on me, crying, Andra's childhood friend Ruth Briscoe told People. Less than 1 month later, Ashton confessed to police that he fatally shot his wealthy parents with a semi-automatic rifle as they slept in the family's $2.4 million mansion in San Juan Capistrano, California. He also shot his 8-year-old brother Landon, who was left paralyzed in the rampage. Asked by police why he did it, Sachs replied simply, "I don't have a reason why. Just a lot of problems." Ashton confessed to the police that Sachs shot his parents, Brad and Andra, in the bedroom of their $2.5 million luxury home in the affluent Orange County enclave of San Juan Capistrano. He then shot his younger brother, Landon, who was 8 at the time. Landon is now paralyzed from the waist down. He tried to shoot his 17-year-old sister, Alexis, but she was unharmed. He later told authorities that he was angry with his parents because they loved his siblings more than he did. He blamed them for his depression and claimed that they had not taken his previous suicide attempt seriously. Sachs was a computer genius and a top student. His ex-girlfriend, Sarah Verbeek, was shocked by the murder. She told People in 2015,
"He never said anything bad about his family. He never said, 'I hate my mother,' nothing."
Sachs' trial was postponed because he did not hire a lawyer and attempted to represent himself. Prosecutors were pleased with his guilty plea. "This is a good resolution," Orange County Senior Deputy District Attorney Mike Murray told People. "I think it's better for the family to let Sachs fade from people's memories. Nothing he did really surprised me," Murray continued, "but I didn't know he was going to change his plea to guilty. If there's any silver lining, it's that the family doesn't have to go through a trial." The judge ordered Sachs to return to court for sentencing on October 14th. The law calls for Sachs to serve a life sentence without parole. 3. Christy Sheets. Christy Sheets called her family into the living room for a family meeting in June 2016, hours after her husband, Jason Sheets, told her he planned to divorce her. She immediately pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Mr. Sheets and wanted to blame him. "You made me do this. You made me do this," Fort Bend County Sheriff Troy Nels previously told People. But she didn't shoot Jason. Instead, Sheets chased her two daughters, Madison, 17, and Taylor, 22, into the street, killing them before police arrived and shot her dead. As for why she didn't shoot Jason, Nels said, "She wanted him to suffer." For Michael Jace. Michael Jace furious that his wife wanted a divorce. Actor Michael Jace, best known for playing cop Julian Lowe on The Shield, shot and killed his wife in 2014 after she returned home to Los Angeles after picking up her sons from baseball practice. Jace shot April, a financial aid advisor at Biola University, once in the back and twice in the leg. After the shooting, Jace called 911 and turned himself in. Jace was convicted of second-degree murder after a week-long trial in 2016. During his sentencing, Jace, who also appeared in Forrest Gump and Boogie Nights, cried as he told his wife's family in court, "There's absolutely no excuse for my actions that night. According to the Associated Press, I am deeply sorry for the pain I have caused everyone." He was sentenced to 40 years in prison in 2016. 05 Heather Mack. Heather Mack and Tommy Sheffer dated for years until they decided to kill Mack's 62-year-old upper-class mother, Sheila Von Wies Mack, while on vacation at a luxury resort in Indonesia in 2014. Sheffer beat the widow to death while she slept. Sheffer and the pregnant Mack then stuffed her body into a suitcase, put the luggage in a taxi, and fled the scene. A taxi driver later found her body in the trunk of his car. 6 Menendez brothers. Lyle and Eric Menendez were 21 and 18 years old in August 1989 when they shot and killed their wealthy parents in the study of their Beverly Hills mansion. Jose, a 45-year-old Hollywood executive, was shot point blank in the back of the head. Kitty, 47, was shot 15 times, including once in the face. The brothers initially blamed the mob for the killings, but later claimed they shot their parents in self-defense after years of sexual abuse by their father. Prosecutors said the brothers wanted to seize the couple's $14 million fortune. After two deadlocked juries and a retrial, both were convicted of first-degree murder. 07 Jeffrey McDonald. On the night of February 17, 1970, Green Beret surgeon Jeffrey McDonald claims that drug-crazed hippies broke into his family's North Carolina home and killed his pregnant wife and their 2 daughters. McDonald described one of the intruders as a blonde woman wearing a floppy hat and knee-high boots, holding a candle and chanting, "Acid is great." Kill the pigs. Authorities did not believe his story and instead argued that McDonald killed his family after he flew into a rage when his youngest daughter wet the bed he shared with his wife. McDonald was convicted of murder in 1979 and sentenced to 3 life terms, although he has maintained his innocence ever since. In 2018, a federal appeals court rejected a request by McDonald's lawyers to overturn the conviction based on new evidence. 08 Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Friends of D.D. Blanchard, 48, were left horrified when a terrifying status was posted on the Facebook page she shares with her 23-year-old daughter Gypsy, who many believe is disabled. "That bitch is dead," the post read. On June 14, 2015, police executed a search warrant at her Springfield, Missouri home and discovered her beloved mother had been stabbed to death and Gypsy missing. Disturbing secrets about Gypsy and her mother were quickly revealed. Dee had claimed that her wheelchair-bound daughter was terminally ill and had the mental capacity of a 7-year-old, but in reality Gypsy had the mental capacity of an adult and could walk. Dee pleaded guilty to second-degree murder of her mother and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Her boyfriend, Nick Godejohn, was sentenced to life without parole after being convicted of first-degree murder. The case is considered an example of Munchausen by proxy, a form of abuse in which a caregiver fabricates illness or injury in the person they care for to gain sympathy for themselves. 09 Michael A. Jones. Police were first called to Michael A. Jones' Kansas City home the day before Thanksgiving for a domestic violence call. When they arrived, they discovered that Jones' 7-year-old son, Adrian, had been missing for months. Police returned the next day and found the boy's remains in the family's pig pen. Adrian's grandmother, Judy Conway, told people that she discovered her grandson had been repeatedly abused and forced to stand in puddles overnight and was regularly shocked with a stun gun. In 2016, Jones was sentenced to life in prison. That year, the boy's stepmother, Heather Jones, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and to counts of child abuse. 10 Martin McNeil. Michelle McNeil, a mother of 8, was found dead in the bathtub of her upscale home in Pleasant Grove, Utah. On April 11, 2007, authorities allege her husband Martin, a physician, drugged and drowned her because he wanted to continue a years-long relationship. The famed former Utah doctor who drugged and drowned his wife a decade ago may have committed suicide in prison earlier this week. His attorney told People, Utah authorities said Tuesday they are investigating Martin McNeil's death in prison as a suicide. It's still unclear how the convicted killer died. Martin, who has maintained he had nothing to do with the former beauty queen's death and was at work when she died, was convicted in 2013 and served less than 4 years of his sentence before being found dead in prison last April in what prison officials said was a suicide. 1 Sarah Lynn Kruger, Ryan Scott Warner. In 2014, Sarah Lynn Kruger, 27, and her 29-year-old boyfriend Ryan Scott Warner killed their 3-year-old daughter, Kayla Slusher, who was found partially frozen in the couple's apartment after being put in a freezer. She had been there for at least a few hours. Napa Valley Deputy District Attorney Ketcha Lind previously told people about Kayla, who died of multiple blunt force injuries. Her body was still extremely cold to the touch when officers found her. The couple was arrested the next day shortly after a woman spotted them at an IHOP restaurant.